Okay, hey Jackson, welcome back to Germany.
Thank you.
Welcome to Cologne. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to Country today, Germany's country music magazine. How was your trip here?
It's been a wild journey to get here so far,
Yeah.
man. We did 3 days in Scotland, all across Scotland, all the way out to Isle of Skye, watched the sun go down over Lewis, back to Edinburgh, through Glencoe and Ben Mavis and all sightseeing, and then up to the Matterhorn to play Zermatt, Zermatt Unplugged, which was incredible. Just eye level with the Matterhorn, and just like, all right, I guess we're doing the thing in Switzerland, you know. And then I met the boys in, I can't even remember where I met the first show was now, but every show we played since the boys got here has just been better than the last.
Cool.
Pretty biblical, man. So it's been a long couple weeks.
Okay, great. So we should be in for a treat tonight if you're getting better and better.
Oh yeah, man. We're in the middle of it, man. It's yeah.
Great, thanks. Well, first of all, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your latest album, On the Back of My Dreams. It's your sophomore album. Came out in September last year, and the title itself is already pretty poetic, and it sounds as though it has a lot of layers to it. What's the idea behind the kind of parallel universe of coming round and you haven't really come to terms with reality? Is that the concept behind it, and how does it work?
I've always viewed music as, you know, you're scoring bits of life that either you've lived yourself or seen be lived, you know. As and scoring them as vignettes, you know, it's very much that art form is, and it's not just music that does that, it's art, period, as well. But when I was cutting this record, we just kept getting mixes back, and we were making some crazy stuff in there, and you're constantly refining and revising. The line that just kept eating at me was "On the Back of My Dreams," which is from Jane, which is this witchy little tune that's just like, this is about that witchy woman, you know, and it's just like, it just kept eating away at me. But Jane has a flair of the surreal in it, which when we were getting mixes back, all of them had a flair of that sonically, and even a little bit lyrically. Like, I mean, it's pretty straightforward lyrically, you know, but for some, I guess not so, you know. But that line just kept eating at me, and it's a crazy notion to think about the outskirts of your dreams in the back of them, you know. Because when you're dreaming, you don't have so much control as in reality, you know. People make films about that, and like, you're in your dreams, you have control. Like, no, you don't. You know, like, you're dreaming, you know. But like, the notion of what's going on in the back and what's happening out in the territories of your dreams is like the literal thing about this record. But in short, this thing is all things I've either seen or done in my own life, you know, in some capacity. And, you know, when you get right in the room with, you know, people that you admire, I read a lot with Viv Dick and Ryan Tyndall, Jeff Hyde, Casey Beathard, Bart Chisholm, all men that I incredibly admire and love. You find that sameness between you, you know, in here and in here. And, it's not too hard to make it translate, you know. You see the same things and you love the same things. It just kind of works. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, so all big names, and you said a lot of it's coming from personal experience and that kind of thing. And it deals with a lot of topics like liberty and pain and mortality. Are there any kind of particular experiences or observations that inspired you with those things that you can talk about? Or is it...
I've always, I guess, you know, aside from just making music, I always wanted to walk my own line. Greenbroke that whole record was of like hello to the industry, kind of. But Greenbroke in itself, the song, you know, that is all about freedom and walking your own line, and I believe every person on this planet was born free from their first breath, you know, and it's on you. It ain't on nobody else. It's on you. And I've had struggled with being able to put everything that I've ever wanted to say into a song, and you can't do it, you know. That's why people write records, you know.
Yeah.
But thematically, over the course of the last two, I mean, even from the beginning when I was cutting one takes in row homes in Baltimore and making, two full records before I ever went to Nashville by myself. That part of it's just not who we are anymore. But even that has that flair of freedom and singularity, and there is a sameness between everybody on this planet with that. You know, everybody I think has that in them. Drastically different vibes on. You know, we're not repeating ourselves. Every song on Back of My Dreams and Greenbrook can stand on its own, you know. But they all embody characteristics and emotions that everybody on this planet, I think, truly has in them. You know, and trying to translate that into, you know, under 30 seconds and make it an answer is always hard. You know, it's so much bigger than that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's extremely eclectic and covers a lot of topics, and so there is something that everybody can identify with, and that's something fantastic about your music. You mentioned Greenbrook, and that chalked up a great amount of success, and Don't Come Looking in particular was an absolute chart topper, fantastic song. Did that success that you have put more pressure on you with the sophomore album, or did it give you more confidence to explore new musical paths?
I've always had the freedom and the confidence to go and do what I want to do, you know. I knew to follow up Greenbrook, it had to beat it in certain capacities, and I think it most definitely did. I'm also fortunate enough to have a label that will take my music, which is a little bit out there, to the world in that capacity. Don't Come Looking went because it was Don't Come Looking, but also I was one of the first ones out of the gate, out of COVID, going on knocking on people's doors, saying, "Hey, let me play you this song up in here in the studio, up in the radio room." You know, that was also a big part of it. You know, and the world, you know, kind of let loose again and started doing the thing again. I can't tell you how many people that I saw on radio tour the first time, where they were like, "Yeah, you're the first person we've had in like a long time come in to sing for us." And there's something about that definitely did what it did, you know. But no, man, it just, like I said earlier, walking your own line is incredibly important, you know, and when they intersect is, you know, magic.
Yeah, that's a very inspirational words in general, and great to hear. You mentioned radio tours as well, and your single "Heavens to Betsy" kind of ties into that somehow, because I heard that you initially were maybe playing that song as to kind of kill time while you were on a radio tour, and then somehow it kind of built up a strong emotional connection with a lot of your fans. How does that feel to you when your music touches people in that way?
It's hard to know what to say to it, man. I've watched Betsy for now a couple of years touch people, even from the time when the masses didn't know what that song was. But you're right. I started playing that to kill time on radio tour, and every single radio PD that I came across was like, "What is that?" And I've had people that I've listened to on the radio my entire life like look at me and go, "Damn," you know what I mean? It's a wild feeling to be like, okay, that's a damn good song, son. And but when people come to you and you're like, you know, I have people coming to me in tears and being choked up talking about it, and it's just like, people got daddy issues, man, and it's a fact. It's a fact, and it hits both sides of that spectrum. And when it's put in front of your face, it's hard to turn away, and it's hard not to feel that. known this song for years, from the time that it was written, still get choked up talking about it. It's one of the most organic and most beautiful songs I've been a part of. You know, but how it makes you feel, it's hard to know. It's hard to know what to say to that. It's just like, it's always hard. You know, it truly is.
I mean, it starts with a gentle acoustic guitar, and then it kind of builds, and it's like a crescendo. It builds into this soaring guitar solo, and is that kind of instrumental shift in the song? Does that represent the emotional roller coaster that the main character's going through, or and does that have a personal connection for you?
So, in terms of why we go so hard, which is, I guess, the question you're asking.
Yeah.
What we do out here, you know, we're a rocking band, man. We like the intensity and building something from the ground up like a cathedral, you know. But in terms of why we went so hard in this take, because this recording is based off of how we built it live. But in my mind, all of that intensity is all the emotion and all the unsaid things that the man died with, you know, that he never got to say.
Yeah.
That it's all the rest of the things that the words don't say. You know, I'm probably not saying that as profoundly as I can, but like, the music is also speaking. You know, it's not just the words that are speaking.
Yeah.
It's not just to have a turnaround. This is all the emotions that this dude died with, and they're just letting it run through you. You know,
Yeah.
it's not just to go, oh, that's pretty. It's just like, this is all that was pent up and never got said. You know, and yeah, and I could sit here for hours and talk about that song.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful, and as you said, the music. I mean, you can hear it in the music. It really starts off gentle, and then at the end, it kind of really kicks your ass. It's fantastic. So when you're writing this kind of music, where does that come from? Who have been your major influences in your career? Whether it's, I don't know, your family, people that you know, or artists that you admire?
My family had a pretty good palette of music. My dad's a very big music person. He can't play or anything, he just loves it. My sister was like top 40 and like soul music and stuff. She's got a really big voice and whatnot, but she loves top 40. And my brother is more of the obscure stuff. He loves bluegrass and ska and whatnot. And the whole family loves classic rock. It's a very wide palette of things coming at you, almost to the point of where we, for a long time, didn't know what to call my music because it's every single one is different. You know, the only constant is me.
Right. Absolutely, it's unique, as you say. Are there any particular artists that you really like to listen to?
Yeah, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club was one of my biggest. I loved how they how they layered their guitars, and I love Peter. I love both of their voices. I love Peter's voice and Rob Bean's voice. And, they came from Brian Jones Town Massacre, which is insane. Them and like in the country side of things, it was like Kip Moore and Stapleton when he was with the Steel Drivers. And, just Drake White was a huge influence to me. The first two songs I ever sang on stage with a guitar in my hand were two Drake White tunes that I don't think are still unreleased. Well, I'm sorry, 50 Years Too Late, he cut. Okay. But the other one was You Always Want What You Can't Have. And it was a play at McJagger, and it's a great song. But it's funny, I'll tell you this story. I wrote with Drake this past year, and it was the first time meeting him, we had met, but sitting down, you know, we wrote a song that we definitely could have, but we talked about that song, and he goes, V2, the land, the piece of land that I talk about in V2, I just bought it. And I was like, oh my God, dude, are you kidding me? It just, it's crazy. Just 10 years later, you know. But yeah, man, just like great vocalist, and
he's got an amazing voice.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Soulful.
It's incredible, man. Yeah.
He's a fantastic guy. Okay, so let's talk about you a little bit. You grew up on a farm in Maryland, I think.
Oh, it wasn't a farm.
No.
It was 4 acres in the middle.
Okay.
In the middle of a bunch of little patch of country. So Baltimore's up here, Annapolis is over here, and DC's down here.
Okay.
I'm out this way.
All right. Would you say that shaped your music in any way?
100%. You know, I was definitely the kid on the other side of the tracks. Literally everybody that I grew up with and went to school with, they grew up across town, across the highway, on the golf course, you know, on the parkway, you know, it's white collar kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah. My dad was a stonemason and I labored for him since pretty much I was 10 years old until the time I left, you know. So very different upbringing than the other kids in town. Yeah,
and in your spare time, you like the outdoors kind of life, you like to fish?
I do. I will cast the line and catch a channel cat whenever I can, you know.
Okay, is that a nice balance for you?
Yeah, man. I mean, I loved being in the stand. I loved the trees, man. I lived on Music Row for, literally on Music Row 6 months, and in East Nashville, and alleyways in the back of my truck, you know. And when I finally could do the thing, I went out about 50 minutes west of town and bought a little spot on the edge of 300 of nothing. Okay. And I'm 20 foot up in the canopy. You have to try really hard to find me. Yeah.
Keeping a low profile.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay, so now on your current tour, it's not the first time that you've been to Europe, you've been a few times. So you're in a good position to tell us about your impressions and the differences between the crowds over here and in the States. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, man. American crowds are wonderful and lovely, and they're rowdy, very rowdy. But what I do, and I mean what's about to happen tonight, is everywhere. You know, they can get music everywhere. I feel like over here, you know, there's been some pretty biblical moments. Just on this tour, there have been on the previous ones too, but there have been some pretty biblical moments, man, and it's because they're hanging on to every word over here, you know, and the appreciation, not only the appreciation of coming across the sea and bringing the whole kit and caboodle to do the thing, that part of that appreciation is awesome. But really, like, what struck me is that they really hang on every single word. There's only really 2 or 3 places in Nashville that you can get that. The listening room, Ryman, and the Opry. Okay. You know what I mean? Out on the road, dude, you're fighting. You know, you're fighting to make them pay attention. And people are there to drink and have a good time and party, you know. But over here, y'all are here to see it go down in the flesh, you know, and there's that element to that like, there's always the element of, you know, like Achilles said and Troy said, we will never be here again like this, you know, and I think that's truly felt over here, you know, but really, we love playing over here, man. It's awesome. Y'all cheer so loud. It's just like to see the evidence of that we are more the same than different, and like to be proving that on stage is just like an incredible feeling, and it's man, it's truly been wonderful.
I mean, we love it that you come over here and that you take the time, because we know it's a huge undertaking for you to do it, and we really appreciate it. So thank you. Did you, like when you were back home, when you were learning your craft, did you dream about playing places like this sometime, or was it something that just happened?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
Until I conceptualized that I could do it and not play it like in places that I would have a hard time pronouncing, but like that I could actually play music and do it as a life. But yeah, dude, like realizing my men's dreams, like every single one of my boys has a dream about playing over here, and they're all stoked. Like, it's, yeah, as long as I've been able to play music, I've dreamed about playing all over the world.
That's beautiful to hear. So what can the fans in Cologne expect at the show tonight? Will there be any surprises, maybe some new songs? Can you tell us about it, or you'll keep it under wraps for now?
We got some tricks up our sleeve, and that's what I'll say.
Okay. And I've heard a whisper that you've got a new single coming out soon.
We do. It's coming out May 9th. First two records were pretty intense and coming at you pretty hard. This next little bit of territory is, we got some beautiful songs to cut. We got another session coming up in June. But this next batch of songs are pretty lighthearted and they're fun, but they're beautiful. Still being able to stand on their own, which is still very important to me. Be Your Man, May 9th. It is designed to come through your speakers and make your feet move.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for this conversation, for all the insight into your life and your music. Everyone at Country to E is going to really enjoy hearing that. Hope you have a great show tonight, and thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the time.
You're welcome.